Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. In this episode, we take this mess of a roof and get some new steel on it. Here we go. So Jillian and I completed the back of the house over the course of a couple days. We removed all the old steel that was on there and replaced it with all the new stuff. As you can see by the tree here, the wind was crazy and this is the calmest of the couple days, of course, when we finish. But we got that done and we were super happy with it. So as you can see, I got myself into a mess pretty quickly. I had no idea what was under the steel on the front side of the house. We were fortunate on the back side that there was newer plywood and strapping and it was shimmed. So on the front side though, that's all old cedar shingle, rough cut strapping, and there's no shimming. So the roof has about a 7-inch sag in the middle of it. I'm not sure if this was ever corrected since it's been built. So if that's the worst that has happened to the roof in the last 180 years, when we did the renos a couple years ago, I strengthened the inside of the rafters. So I'm going to restrap it now. So if it takes another 180 years to sag back to that point, then that won't bother me. So here I am in the lift. When you get a platform this big, unfortunately it goes sometimes from being handy to being a mess, dragging all the tools and supplies up, but it's definitely nice to have a platform to work on once you're at roof height. It doesn't look like much right there, but that's a little ways up, so once you get to that height, it's nice that you don't have to climb up and down all the time. So this is going to give you a close-up of what's on the roof. Like I say, it's a cedar shingle. I have no idea the date of it. I'm assuming this was the original product that they would install when they're building a house. Now, whether this is original to 1840 or not, I am not sure. I imagine it has been replaced a few times, but it's very interesting construction technique. So here's the first row of strapping. Didn't really know where to start, but threw something up, threw a string up, got this one on, got it screwed down anyway, and roughly leveled out just to see what I was dealing with. So like anything, it's overwhelming, but you get started, you get one row on, get it straight, you start with the second row, and you get moving along. So here I am, as you can see, moving right along. Got some new steel going up, got the hard part done with the connection to the addition, got the dormer done, got the valley started. And again, after weeks of doing a bunch of roofing, there's a mess on the ground. But yeah, moving right along. We beat the weather. Got a little bit of rain overnight one night, but I had the tarp on the roof. So I'm just finishing the ridge cap there. There's Dad laying out the ridge. That wooden board leaning up on the roof, that's my specially made ladder to get to the ridge to put the cap on. It rests up against the lift and I run up that. And here we are with the roof all wrapped up. This completes all the roofing for the house in the addition, which is a really good feeling. I also went ahead and the fascia board was starting to peel. I replaced that a couple years ago and stained it. Unfortunately, just saw too much weather that it didn't hold up. So I capped that with aluminum. And then there's a triangle piece over top of the cathedral window up in the soffit. That's actually to hold an LED light in there. Anyway, I ended up recapping that as well, so we'll never have to worry about staining or painting anything. So here's kind of the detail of the stone. The stone is a cultured stone product, so it's about 1.5 inches wide, and then it's just rough on the back. And this is how you start it on a wood frame construction. So if we go to the side, you can see we got 2 layers of tar paper here on top of the insulation, and then in here you can see there's a metal mesh. That's a metal lath that gets screwed on with some fender washers, and then we do a purge or a scratch coat over top of cement. And then before the cement cures, we give it a rough texture. So then when we go to put these stones on, they actually go on kind of like tile. You butter the back of them with cement, and then push it onto the wall. So the cement will get in the rough grooves here and in the rough grooves there. And then you end up with your stone wall. So you can see that one started. They sell a cornerstone, and then all the other stones in between are all different sizes and in colors. A couple of years ago, when we renovated the main house, we ended up using this stone product on the side along with the same siding. So we're just working with the weather right now to try to finish everything up. Today's a pretty cool day. I think it's about -2 Celsius right now. So it's getting pretty cold to put siding on without cracking it. So that's where we're at in the back. That's what I have to finish. So it's supposed to warm up. I'm supposed to get back to the double digits at the end of this week. So I hope to finish this side and the other side for the siding. Then one of the last steps that has to happen this year is I got to get some more fill brought in here. So that's just some dirt. I need to get up over top of that second brick line. So the foundation has to be, the footing has to be 48 inches below the ground. That's our frost line here. So in order to hit that, I got to get another 8 to 12 inches of fill brought in back here, probably about 10 feet wide for now. Got this pile here of some fill from the driveway. That's another project that we've been working on. So the driveway is the last project that has to be done this year, and it's kind of been a mess. I got ambitious in the summer and started digging a hole and haven't quite had time to fill it back in yet. So it looks very deceiving, but the reason why we have a hole here is we're trying to get all the water to redirect. Now we're lucky we got good soil around here, so we've had lots of rain and it's pretty dry. So we're lucky that way, but we want to get this all built back up with stone, and then we can have, you can see the line here, then we'll have our roundabout back. The driveway will come in and then it'll wrap around, connect up with the garage, and then you can head back out. So how do you build a driveway? Well, here's a good example. This stone right now, they call it a 2-inch minus. So the bigger pieces in here are gonna be right around 2 inches. And so far this is about 8 inches deep. Depends on what you're doing with your driveway. If you're gonna pour cement, if you're gonna do give it a lock, you wanna have a good base. You wanna have a good, 6, 8, 10 inches. The more the merrier, I guess, for putting in stone. That's your main support, and then you put whatever you want on top. So in this case, we're just gonna do a 5/8 gravel. So you can see here, got all the 2-inch stone, and then this is all the 5/8. So this is the existing driveway. So you can see this is smaller. So when I bought the tractor, it had some front end damage, including the steering box. So that's this gizmo here. So what does this do? Well, your steering wheel attaches up here, and this is the output down here. So that steers the tractor. So this is a power steering box. So hydraulic lines go in there, and that's what helps steer the front end. So as you can see, it's been broke and repaired, and anyway, it gave out on me a couple weeks ago. So now the tractor, it's under repair. Now I knew fixing this up, it wouldn't last, but I never actually planned on building an addition with it either. So this tractor has moved a lot of dirt this year. A lot more than what I expected. I know for sure we had 6 triaxles of sand, so right away this thing was moving 120 tons of sand, not including the driveway and all the other fill for the addition and some of the other side projects that I've done on the farm. So anyway, it's been good to me, but the steering box, the revision here didn't hold up. So now I'm working on the second revision. I'm gonna use the same plate, but I got to get these dowels machined into that plate. And I also got to get the steering box cleaned up a little bit. And poof, just like that, a little bit of movie magic, and it's all back together in a couple seconds. So really that only took me, say, 2 weeks of downtime, poking away at this thing to get it back together. So the steering box is all mounted back on. Ended up putting an extra collar and another mount right to the loader frame. So that's all back together. Had it working the other night, moving some dirt. Everything works well. The steering box is tight, so it is good to go until it breaks again. So we just took a couple minutes, clean everything up. So it's starting to open up in here. Still got a little bit of garbage and the brake. I got the brake out of here and some tools over there. So I am working on pot lights. So there is the very first wire going in. So before I start any wiring, I have to get a permit from ESA. That's the Electrical Safety Authority. And then we have a sub panel in here. So right now this is a 100 amp sub panel. This just got the one breaker in it right now. And got our ESA inspection. So that's a conduit, runs under the floor, goes all the way over. Then that's the connecting hallway. It runs under into the basement to our main panel. We got a couple water lines and stuff sticking up there. And then got the in-floor system. It's sitting there and it's still primed, which is good. By primed, I mean put some air in it when they were pouring the floor. And if they ever punctured a line, you can hear the air come out, or you can check the gauge and make sure that we don't lose pressure. And that's been like that for the last couple of months. So that's good. The system is working as it should. Well, it's a rainy day, so it's a good day to work inside. Might turn to snow later on. So here's a little tour of the upstairs. So come up the stairs. Got 3 windows over here. Have our nice bay, or picture window out front. And we got kind of a neat ceiling detail in here. So this is all going to be shaped to match the dormer, and then cathedral ceiling. So I end up in a long drawn conversation with myself about the roof line of this addition. And I even bored myself rewatching it, so I'm going to do a voiceover on this one. The short answer is the front of the roof, so the right-hand side is a steeper angle. This is to make it look like the existing house. Since this addition is wider than the house, that means the angle at the back, so the left-hand side, is not as steep in order to match the wider width. So that's the simple answer on why there's 2 different roof pitches, which is the slope of the roof, and then why doesn't the roof line match all the way across, as in why doesn't the very peak of the roof match between the existing house and the addition? Well, the only reason we're building an addition is because we needed more space. Our existing house is 1.5 stories, which is, it's considered on the books because it's only 3 feet at the outside walls because the roof line comes down. So in order to avoid that, we had to go higher, and we already raised the addition a foot out of the ground. And then we already boosted the roof line a couple feet higher. So this stacked up, made the peaks not match. That was planned at the start, but anyway, we wanted to be more practical than, go for aesthetics. We wanted to go for practicality. So that is what we ended up doing. Now that just shows here how we ended up running the roof line. So that connecting hallway does match all the way across. The addition roof sits about 3 feet higher than the existing house. Like I say, that was about 12 inches out of the ground that we came. If we went any lower, as you can see, we would have been in a bigger hole that we are in. That has to be cleaned up this year. I'd like to end this video with a huge thank you to my grandfather for all of his help with the stone and the block. I'd also like to send a huge thanks to all of our friends and family that have shown up to help out with this project. It has meant a lot to us, and we definitely wouldn't have been this far without everyone. Over the winter, I plan to keep going on the electrical, maybe a little bit of HVAC. I'm going to start a little bit of framing upstairs. The videos might slow down a little bit, but if you could continue to like, subscribe, and support the channel, we really appreciate it. So anyway, stay tuned for the next video.